Hi and welcome to Mimika TV. My name is Mimika Cooney and I'm so glad you joined us here today. Today's topic is how to grow your email list. Now, I'm sure many of you have had the same problem that you have a business, you want to get your name out there, and you need to build an email list to communicate with your ideal clients. Well, you're going to love today's guest. Demi Karpouzos is a business mentor, published author, and tell-all speaker. Demi shows her clients how to spawn new leads and then teaches them how to market to those leads that turn into paying clients. She works with talented womenpreneurs who want nothing more than a full client roster, a spacious schedule, and a cushy bank account, but consistently let fears, doubts, and insecurities stop them from putting themselves in the spotlight and making money. Isn't that the truth, right? Demi and her work has been featured on the Daily Worth, Yahoo News, CNN, NBC, ABC, News, Fortune, and CBS. So we are in great hands today. I'm so excited to welcome Demi to the show. So welcome to Mimika TV.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
And I have to say, Puli Kala Kukla, I'm so glad to hear. Her and I both come from Greek heritage. So if it's all Greek to you, it is Greek. So tell us a little bit about your superpower. Now, this is something I'm sure, and I know you say you cater for women, but I know there's lots of men out there who have the same problem. We have our business, we need clients, but now having how's my brain this morning? Clicks and likes on Facebook and Twitter and all the platforms we're on is great, but how do we turn that into clients? So give us some tips. What would you say would be the first step that you would advise us to do?
First and foremost, focus on building your own email list, because I find that, I know for myself, when I was at the beginning of my business, I was struggling financially and I was investing in a lot of programs and courses and all that sort of good stuff, which were great. Except when I was implementing them, the results were a little less than stellar, shall we say. And I realized, I actually have to have an audience to implement these strategies to that I've learned. So I made it my focus to build an email list, to have my own community so that when I send out an email, I'm not vying for everyone, I'm not vying for their attention with a bunch of other people. Like, social media is a great platform. I love it as well, but it's not my main strategy because things get lost in the shuffle, algorithms change. And then there's always new and exciting like Blab and Periscope coming up, which aren't necessarily my forte. And so I just prefer having an email list, and that has transformed how I operate. I remember when I first built it and I sent out a couple of emails to let them know of a free training I was doing. And I was seeing subscribers like joining up for the call. I thought, this is so exciting. Whereas before, I think there were a total of 250 people who had signed up for the call. Whereas before I had a larger email list, I would send something out and I was lucky if I had 30 people to show up on the call. So it was.
Okay. So you're saying when you had a bigger list, you didn't get as much conversions? Or no, you're saying before you had an email list?
Before I had an email list, yes.
Okay.
I was lucky if I had between 20 and 30 people show up for the call. And then it's a numbers game. So obviously if I have 30 people and I then promote something, a product, even a consultation, whatever happens to be, the likelihood of getting, 20 people out of the 30 to sign up, unless I'm really compelling with my message. Mm-hmm. So but when you are now speaking to a group of 250 people, the likelihood of, 20 or 30 people taking you up on your offer is a lot greater. So
what do you think is... So like conversions, because this is something I'm always looking at numbers as well. I'm trying to figure, obviously we understand that behind every email address is a person. So we have to obviously, to me, it's we're not saying, you don't build the relationship, obviously. And we'll get into the strategies of how to build them all. But what I wanted to just quickly base on, and I think this is something that I had a conversation with someone yesterday about this. Is it a numbers game? In other words, if you don't have a huge email list, you can't launch anything? Do you think that you have, is there like a basic, you can do something with a small email list?
Not at all. You actually can. You always want to provide value and cultivate that relationship, build rapport, build desire, be consistent with it. I started working with a client and we did a quick email, built her email list. And so I think she had like about a little over maybe it was closer to like 380 or so on her list. And then she promoted an 8-week program. And from there, she made just shy of $12,000 from that, as well as providing value to even the people who didn't purchase, because you always want to create a webinar or whatever it is that regardless of whether people take the next step with you or not, you want them to feel like they've made a wise choice in investing their time with you. So you always want people to walk away with some strategy that they can implement right away.
Right. Okay. So that's good. So let's back it up a bit. So say, because I know I hear this a lot, someone's launching a podcast, they're launching a book, they're launching a course, whatever it is. We need to get our message out there. What would you say is the first thing you would advise about building an email list if someone has not already started building an email list?
If you want an email list build on steroids, I would recommend doing an interview series, and it doesn't have to be on a grand scale. You see sometimes people do a 21 expert interview series. It could even be 12, and you can package it like within 3 or 4 days. It will allow you to connect with other experts as well, and so you start building that relationship with them, and then their respective communities have access to you as well. So I would recommend doing an interview series to some degree, whether it's 12 person or 21 person, or if you want to go beyond that. Also,
when you say
interview, a challenge.
I mean, I'm not sure if I understand this. So, because I know I can hear everybody saying, what does she mean by that? Because there's a difference between, like I have a video series on my website that's a freebie option. So if you go to my website, mimikacooney.com, you get my free 3-part video series. But what you're talking about is more like a conference or a virtual summit, right? Where you plug it into. Yes. So I just wanted to clarify that because I know it can be a little confusing because you can have one on your own site, and we'll get into that too. But what you're actually meaning is to really build your email list very fast is to tie into other people's network by inviting them and being part of a series, whether it's a conference, pre-recorded or live, right?
Correct. And then one of the main questions I get from people is, well, why would these experts want to be a part of my interview series? Like what's in it for them, essentially, for them to say yes? People typically know that, especially in the online community, that they will then have, so let's say it's going to be a 21 person interview series or summit. So there's usually a minimum list requirement from each expert. You want to make an even playing field. So let's say it was 5,000 people. So now they will have access to potentially 100,000 other people that they may not have already had access to. And they're not doing any work other than showing up to do the interview, and they do a promotion or two, and then that's it. Whereas you're the one who's doing all the back end stuff. So it makes it more attractive because then they also get to build their list as well and provide value first and foremost. You always want to make it a win-win-win.
So this would be something that would be free for people to watch. Like, in other words, you watch live today, like a creative live, you watch today, but you can buy the recordings and keep them at a price. Or do you reckon there should be something that'd be completely free?
I would recommend making it completely free and high value, not a sales pitch. People have trusted you with their name and email address, and they're there to get value from whatever you're teaching. So regardless of whether someone takes the next step with you or not, I always believe in giving them something that they can implement in their business, their health, their relationships, whatever your niche is. You want to make sure that they walk away with some value.
Okay, so that's a great idea, and it's something I have on my to-do list, but I know it takes a ton of work. You're looking at least 3 months to actually do. So we will be we'll be having you back on for that. But let's back it up. There's someone who doesn't have the resources to do each of these. And I have to tell everybody, if you want to know how to do it, I can teach you how to do the 3 video, but that you can find out at my website. So if you want to get info, make sure I'll put the link in here. But let's back it up and make it really easy for everybody. So someone's just starting out, say they want to launch a podcast. Okay, they don't have an audience, they don't have a list. What would you say would be a good way to start an email? I mean, even let's go back it down to start with the landing page. What makes a good landing page and an opt-in that makes people actually want to give you their email address?
Great question. You want to make it benefits driven. So first you want to paint the picture of whatever topic it happens to be on that you're focusing on, or whatever your industry is. Again, it could be finances, business, relationship, health, whatever. You want to first paint the picture of where they are, what their reality is. So what's their pains, their fears, their frustrations, and use the language that they use in their heads when they're speaking to other people. So you want them to be able to recognize themselves in what you've written. And then you want to let them know what they're going to get out of it, what your intention is. And you want to keep it very short and sweet. You don't want to give them a whole bunch of stuff. You want to make the focus on just 2 or 3 things that will help alleviate whatever their pain, their fear, their frustration happens to be. And it's Well, if you can also include numbers in there as well. So whether it's like a 3-step, a 2-step, it could be they'll receive a checklist, a template, something that'll make it a lot easier for them to walk away and take whatever you've taught and then implement it.
So kind of like,
so it's a language.
Okay, so and of course this goes back to, you know, what I know I love to talk about, which is branding and understanding your clients. So we want to identify a need, then we want to offer them a solution to their problem. So let's talk a bit through some of the options. Now, if some people say you can have a free PDF, a ebook, a audio book, a video series, what would you say really? And I heard you say like 3-step or 5-day or 20 something. Do those kind of things work better than others, or which one do you think is a better option?
I have found personally that people like to have tools. So so let's say for myself, if there are certain business tools that make my business run more efficiently. So if I'm focusing on more, maybe becoming more productive, or if the tools that I used in order to get clients, so I'm putting that together. People want something short and sweet, and they want something that they can consume right away and implement right away. There's no shortage on information out there. There's a plethora of information. So it's just a matter of you're reducing their research time and then letting them know what has worked for you and perhaps your clients or friends, whoever you've tested it out on.
Because I know for myself, I've tried ebooks and I've tried audiobooks, and of course now I'm the video person, so obviously now I have to have a video series. I find video converts a ton better because people get to know you and like you, and that kind of shortens the learning curve of what it is. But I hear what you say. So in other words, like I put a link in there. This is a one page. Well, actually no, this is a 3-page PDF I put together to help you be able to do better interviews and, you know, set up your lighting. And this is something I sent you, the prep guide, the interview prep guide. And this is something I created for my clients out of a need. Okay, I'm having this interview show. I want people to be able to have their sound and internet and their lighting set up. So it was like a checklist of what to do and what not to do, things and troubleshooting guide. And literally I've made that available. And I'm quite surprised how well it's doing, because people find it's really good content. You know, it's giving you something you can use straight away. You can print it off. You can do, it's a 3-page thing. It's easy to consume, like Demi says. And then it gives you a taster. So we've covered the landing pages, and we've covered, okay, like what kind of option. What would you say then is to actually build, and I know we kind of did it a bit backwards, doing a virtual summit for those who've joined us. When we meant a video interview series, we meant like a virtual summit where you're interviewing people. So what would you say then? Okay, so we've got them on the email list. Now, what are other good ways to kind of warm them up and move them along the process to they're actually becoming paid clients?
I would recommend getting them. So the next step would be taking them from an email to either speaking with you one-on-one. It all depends on the industry that you're in as well. So like, for instance, I had a client, I was working with a client who's a mortgage agent. So for his strategy, it was putting together a 5-day challenge. So taking people, like, so the first day they'd have to look at, you know, their credit score, and then the second day pulling up their tax assessments, whatever the process was. And then at the end, he would get them on a call, like a group call, and then answer any questions, give a bit more value. And then he would very nonchalantly, very casually invite them to connect with him one-on-one if they had any questions pertaining to their particular situation. So that would be one way. So again, it's industry specific, but the question, you want to get engagement, even if it's just email. A lot of people try to jump from email to getting on the phone. So you could just be sending out an email where you're asking, hey, whatever the question you have, does this resonate with you? Or have you ever felt this way? Or have you ever done this before? Or what was your number one frustration? Just hit reply and let me know. As soon as they start hitting reply, then you can start responding one-on-one with people and then start extracting information, and then you move them on. That would be one way. Another way would be having a group call or a webinar, whatever the case is. Actually, before that, you have an email list, send out a survey, find out what they want. I made this
before you do the call.
Before you do the call, yes, because I thought I knew what they wanted, which was totally different from what they actually wanted. So I sent out a survey using SurveyMonkey, which is free. 5 questions, very easy, multiple choice. And there was a resounding number of people who wanted X. And so I did a free call addressing why X is happening for them and then how to resolve it. So a large group of those people jumped on the call, and then we got the ball rolling. So I recommend survey and then doing a training call if that's what you're going to do. Yeah.
Okay, because I think the steps are important, because I've made this mistake of like, oh, we'll do it. And they're like, hang on, I forgot to figure out what they actually wanted. So great tips there. So I wanted to say welcome to everyone who's joining. We've got Vicky, Jason, Steve, Johan, Dana, John, Lourdes, Ken. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Automated Millionaire, please click on the little bird on the left. Tell a little bird and tell people to join us. We've got some really good content talking about growing your email list. So just to summarize a bit, we've talked about, getting your email list built quickly is a great way to do that is through virtual summits, but that is a bigger thing to, to chew into if you wanted to start. So we covered landing pages, we've covered kind of free opt-ins, and now we want to work them through the process to actually becoming sales. And what I find quite fascinating with what you say, and I think this is what people forget, is that even though we're in an online business, we're getting people to give us their email addresses, we still want to do old-fashioned calling. Like you're the third person I've spoken to this week that says, get people on the phone, no matter what kind of business you are. And I think this is something a lot of us underestimate, is the importance of actually making that one-to-one connection. So that's totally awesome. But let's go back to quickly. I want a few questions about the survey. So you did mention, which I think is important, is you didn't ask them too many questions. You didn't want to know what where they grew up, what they had for breakfast yesterday. You said a few questions. Can you give us some of the wording that you use? What actually gets people to take action and fill in the survey?
Yes. So that's the key. So in the email, and you only send the email out one time. So you're not bombarding them with, hey, can you fill out the survey? Can you fill out the survey? You send it one time, and then whoever participates, and that's it. And you'll find that a good group of people actually do surveys. So in that email, you just want to say, hey, name, I'd like to serve you better, or, and you want to personalize it. Like for myself, when I write them, I usually go to a local cafe. I'm like, hey, I just popped into my local cafe and I realized, I'd like to get to know you better. I want to make sure that I actually provide, things that you actually need. Can you fill out this short survey? It'll take you less than a minute and a half. And I time myself to make sure that it'll take them less than 90 seconds. And the questions are very simple. So it will be, where is your, like for myself, since I'm a business coach, where do you find you're having the most difficulty? Is it generating leads? Is it in the sales conversation? Is it in follow-up? Is it your time management? So the things that, when I speak to people, what their pain points are, and then there'll be a resounding, it's time management, or, I don't know how to close sales. So based on those responses, I will then put together, how to have an effective sales conversation. And then another question may be, how long have you been in business? Like I want to know what part of the journey they're in, because that will provide some value for me on how I can address the concerns. I don't want to be speaking about all these different strategies when they are just the beginning part of their business. So yeah, just focus on questions that you normally get from clients, or maybe if you've participated in the journey yourself, what type of questions you had, and just 5 questions, and always throw in the last question. What more would you like to tell me about yourself? People really love filling those spots in. So,
So it's almost like an open paragraph. Then that's when people, if they really start to spill the beans and give you more, that's actually better than just, because this is the thing as I debated, do you do just like a multiple choice, or do you want to have them actually type the answers? Because sometimes I find if they feel like if they're spending too much time typing, they don't fill it in. But then again, you're saying, so these are just a few kind of like egging them onto, directing them in a few ways that you can kind of provide more value. And then do you do this maybe once a week, once a month? How often do you do these? Or was it one-on-one? The calls?
The calls. That's another great strategy to build, is have choose a month. So like, let's say for the month of October, every Monday you can have like motivational Monday calls. So short and sweet, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, where you give them one strategy and then they go implement for the rest of the week. So over the course of the 4 weeks, people get a flavor of who you are. They've made it a habit to connect with you. They look forward to those motivational Mondays. I'm just making up the name, like whenever you want to do it. And then from there, they'll more apt to want to connect with you on the phone. With regards to the survey, anytime you do a build email list, you want to get to know your new list, your new database. So you want to send out a survey. So it depends how frequently you do that.
Okay, so we said landing page, give them something that they like, that whether it's a PDF, something they can consume easy. Then give them what they asked for, and then get them to fill in a survey, and then invite them to a free call. And then usually, okay, once you get them on the call, then it's, one-on-one. What if somebody doesn't really want to do one-on-one? Is there other ways to convert your email list? You said it was industry specific, but is there another way other than getting them on the call, or do you still think that's the number one strategy?
To fill your practice, yes. So whether you're a coach, consultant, mortgage agent, real estate agent, whatever, it would be, the one-on-one call. However, if you're leading them toward a program that you've put together, or perhaps it's a product, you can do that right from the call that you have. You don't have to jump on a call with them. And then after that, it would be a whole email campaign to promote that particular product or that particular group or whatever happens to be you're promoting. So no, you wouldn't have to get them on the call. It all depends. I would actually advise, before running a group program, have at least the experience of 10 one-on-one clients, because it's a bit of a different piece with group coaching. So specifically for coaching, if there is anybody else here that has a different industry, I'd be more than happy to give you some tips.
Yeah, like I know a lot of them are like either, I know for myself, like I do coaching, but I also do courses. So it's like a group course where like a boot camp. Everybody starts together. We go through a 4-week program with my Confident Video course. And then, so everyone's it's like a semester type sign up. So of course, there's lots more stages to warming up your list, right? And getting people to move along. And then I know some of my audience are also like podcasters who may be launching a podcast or trying to get to get people to sign up to their list on their, from their marketing. So I think that we do have a variety of great things. So, but I know from what I've heard and being recommended to me is that you really know how to monetize the list, because it's all in well having, and this is something I had as early as last week. I deleted a whole bunch of people from my list who've been on my list for years, for like 10 years, and never did anything. So would you advise that, like someone in my case, I've been building an email list for 10 plus years. Is it good to kind of go through and, weed out people and kind of get down to maybe a more engaged, smaller list? Or do you still think it's the numbers, the bigger, the better?
No, you definitely want engagement. I have a client who has just a little over 1,000 people, but her open rate is like 80. Well, I think the lowest she had was like 67%, which is very engaging. However, I would actually leave people on. I wouldn't do a whole calling process unless they're not getting your emails. Like, and you'll see like people, it'll say, it's a soft bounce, or, their mailbox was full or whatever. Their email box was full. Then you can delete those people because you're paying for those people to be on there. So that could be dead weight. But I've had clients who have been on there from the beginning. And then now, I just had a lady yesterday send me an email and she wanted to connect. And so if you were to look through her process, she's never done anything with me. But it's just, it just takes one email, one whatever that will spark the person, because you're getting people on the spectrum of where they are on their journey. There'll be some people in the red hot mess who will want to work with you immediately. And then there are some people who kind of see in the future, but they're not really interested. So it may take 10 years to get them to that part. So if it doesn't cost you anything, I'd say leave them on. But if they're not even opening your emails, then delete them. Yeah,
because that's the thing I know of a lot of the program I use in Infusionsoft, it costs you money the more people you have on your list. Okay, I have to say that also I completely changed industries. So we have a different client avatar as well. So the need is completely different. And that's what was really heartbreaking for me. It was like, oh my gosh, I do this. But, for me, I'm all about 1,000 true friends and having, like you said, engagement and open rates is that people actually want your stuff, will actually click and open, because then there's more higher percentage that people become your clients. So, I think those are some great tips. So let me just see here. We have Automated Millionaire says, you never know about timing of other people's lives. Yes, I do agree. Like, as I said, I've had people on lists, 5-10 years, and it's when they're ready to take action. And this, they might not be ready right now, but they keep hearing about it. And it's like any relationship, right? You have a friend, you might be real bosom buddies for a while, and after a while you fall out of touch with each other, but then you get back in touch and you kind of rekindle the friendship again. And email list is like any relationship. Wouldn't you agree? It's like it's a whole relationship building process. Exactly. And
I think a lot of people miss the boat. Even on social media, they'll behave in ways that hopefully they don't behave that way in real life. Like they'll go from, I had one lady on social media, I don't mean to go on a tangent here, but I think it's applicable. She had asked me to she had sent me a friend request, and I saw we had a mutual friend, which was a client of mine. So I did. And then she never said hello, never liked anything, never posted, nothing. Like there had no engagement with her whatsoever. And then a few weeks later, she sends me a 6-paragraph message telling me all about herself and why I should join her business. She was in network marketing. And if I wasn't looking for the business opportunity, maybe I could pass it on to my friends or family. Didn't once ask me about myself or nothing. It was ridiculous. So yeah, it's all about engaging and building that relationship with people.
We don't want to come across as slimy and salesy and like, hey, by myself, because that's not how we have relationships in real life. And I think that you're totally right. We need to remember that we are dealing with people. Behind every name, every email address, every click, every like is a person. And as long as we keep it real and we keep it there. So just to remind everybody, if you recently joined us, here at Mimika TV, our guests kindly donate to our goodie giveaway. That's why it pays to be in it to win it. And today, Demi has kindly donated a 1-hour strategy session worth $750. So if you are having a business and you need help with building your email list, or you have questions about what you should do, things that we talked about, surveys, this is definitely something that you want to do. And the way that you can win it is that I'm going to ask a question now. And so I'm hoping you've been paying attention. I have mentioned it a couple of times just to remind you guys. In the beginning, Demi mentioned that the quickest sort of on steroids way to build your email list is to host a what? If you remember, she called it something, and I was just clarifying. What did she call it? It's some series. If you can tell me, the first person who can type in the comments section, there we go. Automated Millionaire, the summit, like a virtual summit or an interview series. That's correct. So having an interview series, getting on relationships with other people, having them email their list to grow your list is the quickest way to do that. So Automated Millionaire, you need to, there we go. If you could just direct message, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Jamie? Direct message on Twitter or Facebook? What would you prefer?
Let's do Twitter since we're on this platform.
Okay.
And then if it's okay, because I don't manage my schedule, otherwise it'd be a whole big mess. So I'll get someone from my team connect with you too.
That would be perfect. So just direct message her on Twitter and send her your info. So that's why it pays to be here. Yay. And I think this is the second time you've won one of our giveaways, haven't you? I'm sure. It's what is your name again? I know you've got 2 accounts. Meki, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So just to round up a quick. We talked about opt-ins. We talked about, how to engage them. And then we talked about virtual summits. Now we can open it up. Mikhail, there we go. Yes, Mikhail. That's his name. He's the one who'll be in touch with you. So what I'm going to do. Yes, and that is so valuable. If I wasn't hosting this, I would claim it too. But that's fine. I'm sure you'll do great. And just to let everybody know, if you aren't aware, Demi, at the bottom you'll see it says click to give props. You see under your face or under my face, there's those little hands. Now what happens is it's kind of like, like hearts on Periscope. You just click on somebody's face like that, and that gives them hearts. And why I love to always ask for that is to make sure that it gives you good encouragement that what you're offering people are resonating with what you have to say. So let's do this. So if you are interested in hopping on and joining us in the hot seat, click to join. And I know we have a couple of people watching us live. And the good thing is there will be a replay too, which will be syndicated to my YouTube channel as well. But this is your opportunity to ask Demi some questions, particularly relating to your own business. So Mikhail, if you want to grab that seat, you can hop on there now. I know we have Tony's with us, Fabrizio, Dana. I know you guys are there. I can see you. Don't be hiding behind that. John, Vicky, Jason, Stephen, Claire, Johan. There we go. Dana's going to hop on. Okay, perfect. Yay, Dana's going to join us. Yay. Yeah. I like your profile picture pointing.
I know, that's awesome. I love that.
Hey, Dana.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Is it Dana or Dana?
It's Dana.
Dana. Well, welcome, Dana. Thanks for hopping on our hot seat today.
Right, great. Well, thank you very much for the great topic, one of my favorites. And I can never learn enough. My brain is a sponge. So I really appreciate Demi sharing your input. And I just had a question. What do you think about how often to send emails out to your lists?
Great question. I don't have a fast rule with it. I do it when I have something to provide value to them. Mind you, I make sure that it isn't it's not too far and few in between. You can do it on a weekly basis. I wouldn't do it any less than once a month. But I'm not one of those people who follows a schedule, and that has kept me at a very high open rate because it's not forced. Like, it's not like, oh shoot, what do I send them? What do I send them? It's actually coming from a place of inspiration, and whether I get, I come across something that's a really cool or fun resource I want to share with them. I also minimize who and what I promote. Unless I actually experience the product, program, or service, I won't promote it. I don't do any affiliate links or anything like that. So going back to your question, I would do it when you actually have something of value to provide, but be on the lookout for it as well. Like, don't wait too far and few in between. Don't wait too long in between sending them out. I would say every 2 weeks would be sufficient, or every week if you have that type of content. So yeah, I'm going to give you some hand clapping. Some props.
I think it also depends on what you're doing. Like, because this is and I'm sure Dana, just tell me if this is something where you're at. Depending on what you do, like for me, obviously I do the show, so I have weekly shows. So for me, previously I would send out an email every Tuesday, which would be a link to the interview, so people could go then and watch it. But now that I'm doing so many in a week, I don't want to harass my list all the time and say, hey, we are not, like, how do I join us now? Would you reckon maybe like a newsletter, like a once a month newsletter of, hey, this is what's happened and this is what's coming up, something like that maybe?
Yes, that would be part of the whole, whether you're doing it weekly or bi-weekly or once a month. What is it that you do?
Are you meaning me or
Myself?
Dana, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Dana. Yes, sorry about that. Yes.
Yep. So I do mostly eBay. I do eBay coaching, eBay, helping people get started on eBay and that kind of thing. So I try to provide, I do a lot of curating content. So I share a lot of information that's already out there. But I was just wondering, on a consistent basis, sometimes it's really hard to keep up. And do you think that if you are not on a regular basis, do you think it makes a difference to your audience?
What would be, it depends what you mean with if you weren't on a regular basis. Do you mean like on a consistent day or?
Yeah, so like say the first week of every month or the first of every month. Do you think that people anticipate that, and then they're disappointed if they don't get it at that time?
There are definitely, yes, there's that group of people. I know for some people, I'm like that. Like there are some people I know that every Tuesday morning, I expect to have their name in my inbox, and I look forward to it, I get excited. So I find that it's usually not emails though. It's usually video or like a podcast. I know when they're going to be released, and I look forward to those. With emails, unless I think you're really wowing my socks. No, I'm not a whole I'm a consistency fan, but I'm not a scheduled fan.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Is there anything else you wanted to ask, or was that mostly?
Yeah, no, you said, I know our topic is email, and it's to grow our list. Mm-hmm. So besides, you mentioned having that, the sign up page, the capture page, what other strategies can you recommend for list building?
Holding webinars, so emailing your list, and then Facebook, you can do Facebook ads, or you could just do a Facebook event and also promote in the Facebook groups that you're a part of, letting them know you're doing a free webinar. And in those webinars, you want to give a lot of value. So not just the what's, but also the how's. I think a lot of people will hold stuff back, and I'm not a fan of that.
So kind of like
people will. What do you mean?
Do you mean like an actual event? I think what she means, Dana, is like you host a webinar event. I mean, I've heard people get great responses because this is, getting new people on your list so they can get to know you, and you're doing like a one-to-many approach. So, and you're saying you would drive Facebook ads for people to sign up for the webinar, Demi? Is that what you meant?
Correct. Yes. And you can do Facebook. You can do paid advertisement or not. I've had clients who haven't done any paid advertisement, and they'll get upwards of, depending, it's the wording. So it's upwards from 500 to 600 people just from doing it that way, promoting on social media as well as to their list, even if it's a small list. to get people on the webinar. So webinars are great. Challenges are also great and they're fun. I haven't worked with one client yet who hasn't gotten clients from doing a challenge. And some have been on a smaller scale, some have been on a larger scale, and they're pretty easy and quick to run too.
Yeah, I even tried, I bought the domain name called joinmynewsletter.com. So I think that made it easier for me when I'm doing events or I'm out and about or whatever, and I can quickly shoot that out. And I do advise people to create a URL that will point to subscribe to their newsletter or subscribe to their list, because it helps, on a spur of the moment. Have you tried that?
Yes, I actually, I love that you've got the URL. Mine is igotafreegift.com. I would suggest that you don't include newsletter in that, because people don't typically want to have another newsletter in their inbox. So I would lead with the free gift, or, of like whether you give juicy business tips or health tips or financial tips, whatever happens to be, or how to rock your podcast or how to build a podcast without losing your mind, something like that, like some more benefits driven than what they're actually getting. But yeah, I love the fact that you have gotten a URL, which is awesome. It does make it easier when you're doing like podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I mean, I have to be in the same mindset. I have like 10 different URLs, but like when you're doing an audio, like a radio interview, you can't, like my name is super hard to spell and people get it wrong the whole time. Yeah. So what I have is, and this is national fact, is what I have planned to do for the next week, is to actually create landing pages. I've got like periscopevideotips.com. I've got confidentvideo.com. I've got blabvideotips.com. So great stuff coming soon. Something like that people know how to spell. It's not like rocket science that's got funny little things in there, but I'm not saying, hey, get my newsletter or I want to sell to you. It's literally, I am giving value and it's easier to do. So that's a good one. I never thought about that with the word newsletter, that you think that puts people off.
Could be, yeah. I use it, like I said, when I'm speaking somewhere, and then, I can see everybody quickly going to it on their cell phones. It's just, I don't know. And I do text to join as well, so that helps too. So there's so many strategies, and we just have to keep looking for new ways to keep building those lists, right?
Exactly. But like Demi says, right, it's value. What can we offer that's not necessarily I'm going to, because, and I know this is, I'm sure something you would probably agree with, Dana, is that you want to be able to offer value, but you don't want to come across as spammy. Like if you're in a Facebook group, like, hey, join my list. So I think that's great. So yeah, there are some awesome tips, and I've got some work to do. I've got to work on my list. Got to work on my page.
First, I have to tell you, I love your pink phone, and that would sell so well on eBay.
I know. Lots of people ask me, I bought it on eBay, but I am not parting with it because I have to keep my retro feel, Like I have another you see, I have another one too.
Okay, ladies.
School. Well, thanks, Dana. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you being part of the conversation.
Thanks, Dana.
Thanks for the great topic. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Perfect. Well, this is what's great, having people on the hot seat. You get to ask your questions live with our guests, and we have covered a ton of content. I'm definitely going to go back to the replay and make some notes, because you've really dropped a lot of knowledge bombs that I can't wait to dig right in. But just to let everybody know that, excuse me, one second.
I wish I could fill it in.
Okay, back to the program. Just to let everybody know that Demi is really great, and her superpower is helping you build your email list. So if you want to get more help, make sure to reach out to her. What's the best way for people to find you, Demi?
I'd say on Twitter. Oh, actually, no, because it's my name, and my name is hard to spell as well. It's at Demi Karpouzos is the one. Or if you want to do the igotafreegift.com, that would be probably the easiest to be able to spend.
That's good. Why don't you type it in the comments right there? So, because what's great about the Blab is the replay stay live, and then the links are clickable, which is great. So if you want to get in touch with Demi, she's got her free gift for you, so you can go and grab that now. And I always like to say, we love to share great topics with guests. If you know somebody who you think would be a great fit for Mimika TV, make sure to have them reach out to me. I'm on Mimika Cooney on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere you can find me. So make sure to tweet me and let me know. And we always like to offer great freebies. And if you want more great freebies where you can grab my products or things that are of great value, I have a video series. So just like, Demi advises you give out something for free. If you would like to grab that, you can get a branding video series at mimikacooney.com. You type it in here. And then you'll get on my email list. And we do these Mimika TVs regularly. As I say, we do at least 2 a week. So if you want to be in it to win something, you've got to be on live. So make sure to share this with your newsletter community and click to tell a bird. We love to have more people in the party. Well, I have to say, appreciate your time, Demi, and you've really helped my audience with a lot of stuff. And I'm going to say, if you've enjoyed this, click to subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends, and make sure to go send Demi some love. But I'm going to say thanks again for joining me on Mimika TV. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. And thank you, everybody, for joining and for the great questions. I really do appreciate it.
That's great. Well, thanks, guys. Until next time, take care.
Bye, buddy.